We're at the IAS here in Amsterdam. We're here with Keith Dunn, Chief Medical Director for Janssen. And we appreciate you taking the time to visit with us on some of what you're doing and what bringing to the conference. So tell us about it.
Thank you for inviting me here today. I'm happy to be here in Amsterdam supporting IAS and Janssen. Janssen, it's an exciting time for us back home in the US. We just had the approval of Simtuza in the US, and really what we've been focusing here at IAS is making sure that there's data in the space that conveys the efficacy and safety profile of Simtuza in the patients in which we've studied it.
Mm-hmm. And what are your plans now to roll out and so forth? Is it?
Yeah, so we've had two posters here for our phase 3 data. One was a subgroup analysis of the EMERALD trial, which looked at patients who were suppressed on a boosted protease-based regimen in combination with Truvada, and switched them to either the darunavir single tablet regimen or Simtuza, as it's named in the US, or they stayed on their baseline protease-based regimen. We saw 95% virologic suppression in both of those arms of the study. And the new data that we've presented here is really looking at, are there any differences across the subgroups? So patients in the study could have been on a boosted darunavir-based regimen, a boosted atazanavir-based regimen, or a boosted lopinavir-based regimen. Mm-hmm. And what we found in this new subgroup analysis is that there really are no differences with regards to the success of virologic suppression, virologic rebound, or any safety concerns regardless of the patient's baseline regimen. The other study that we've presented here that's also a phase 3 single-arm open-label study in the US across 16 sites is a study called DIAMOND. This is a study that's looking at the darunavir single tablet regimen in what we would call a rapid initiation scenario. Some people sometimes refer that to as a test and treat model of care. We recruited 109 subjects who were newly diagnosed in about a 14-day window, and they were immediately treated with the darunavir single tablet regimen prior to having any baseline safety labs or resistance information available. Mm-hmm. We built in certain safety stopping rules and resistance stopping rules as labs came back in that study to make sure that that was an appropriate regimen for these patients. And we're following those patients out for a full 48-week time point.
And when did that start?
We started recruiting for that study in August of 2017, mm-hmm. And we closed recruitment in December of 2017. What we found here is that at 24 weeks, which is an interim analysis to examine safety and efficacy outcomes as the study moves along, is that 91% of patients have remained in the study. Mm-hmm. We are pleased with that. We think that's an important number as you look at the UN AIDS 90-90-90 goals. We'll see if it continues to be 90% or above as the trial progresses. And we've also looked at virologic efficacy. In an intention to treat analysis of all 109 patients, we saw 81% of patients virologically suppressed at 24 weeks so far. Mm-hmm. There are some patients that have not yet reached undetectable levels of HIV RNA. A few patients had very high viral loads when they came into the study. And so they are all on their way to being undetectable. At this point in time, we've had no patients discontinue due to efficacy or protocol-defined virologic failure. If you look at also the patients that maybe missed their visit window and exclude those patients, you can see that the virologic response rates are actually 90%. So of those retained in care patients, 90% are virologically suppressed.
So do you really expect all the patients, no matter high viral load or what, to actually get to full virologic suppression?
You know, I'm hopeful. I really am hopeful.
It's still possible. It's still in your mind. It's still possible.
It's still possible. We have patients that are starting to come in for their 36 and 48-week visits, and again, at this point in time, we've had no discontinuations due to efficacy concerns.
It'd be great if we could bring them down to a lower viral load before you start the trial and on other drugs. But you really want people, I think today, people more so than ever are getting on a combo or whatever it is that they're going to stay on a very long time. And in most cases, there's no reason to shift. In my book, I mean, it's other than if it's really expensive drugs or hard to take or side effects that uniquely are a problem for you.
Yeah, and that's an important consideration. In the AMBER study, which looked at the Darunavir single tablet in treatment-naive patients, we saw only 2% of patients discontinue over 48 weeks due to an adverse event. And I think when you think about the boosted PI class as a whole, some of the concerns with that class would be gastrointestinal related side effects. Most of the adverse reactions that occurred in AMBER were grade 1 or grade 2. And when we look at specifically diarrhea and the number of patients that would need to discontinue treatment because of diarrhea in the study, there was only one patient in the Centuza arm that discontinued due to diarrhea. So.
And you often wonder if they couldn't have just tolerated it for a little bit longer, maybe it would have gone away.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, some of these side effects are not durable over time. Your body gets adjusted to the medication, and sometimes people just have gastroenteral distress as a typical thing for them, So anything else happening at Janssen that we need to update ourselves on that you're able to speak about?
Yeah, we continue to collaborate with our partners. There was 96-week data presented here on Juluca. I mean, the poster was presented this afternoon. We continue to see good efficacy in those patients that switched off of a suppressive regimen to the 2-drug regimen of dolutegravir, rilpivirine. And that's paving the way for additional partnerships with ViiV with regards to the long-acting injectable of cabotegravir as well as the long-acting injectable of rilpivirine.
Right.
We are very supportive of the U=U campaign. We feel that rapid initiation is something that's really important to support U=U, getting patients to undetectable levels earlier in an effort to help decrease stigma, increase testing, get patients on treatment sooner is where we are really putting our heart right now.
Right. So in the collaborations that you're doing with ViiV and others, are you involved in that? Do you feel that there's a comfort level with? I know that there's always proprietary concerns, but I think the audiences generally speaking think that pharma is at odds with each other, that there's this war going on for the diamond or whatever it is at the end of the rainbow.
Well, I don't know. Our collaboration with ViiV is very good. We all have touch points with our respective team members, and really want to make sure that we preserve patient safety and bring forward newer options and novel options for patients. So.
I mean, the fact that you're doing it is really helpful for our community, because if you're not doing collaborations, that's one thing that we don't have in a combo that might really be an answer, a really good answer for a good, healthy part of the population.
Yeah, and I think if you look at Janssen's history, right, we have collaborations with ViiV, we have collaborations with Gilead that have brought several single tablet regimens to patients who need them, as well as novel 2-drug regimens that are now available as well.
So it really is helpful to know this, and we appreciate that being the case. So I appreciate you doing the time with us, and it's always good to talk with you. I know we, as community and groups like ATAC, get to meet with you. It's important for us to say that those meetings are always healthy moments for us, and we'd like to have more of them, but cost and time constraints and people's busy lives, it allows you to have once or twice a year, and that's about it. But the relationships are always good, I think, with the community.
Well, that's why I think we're happy to be here at IAC this year, where there is a community focus. While we're not all together in one room, we see each other here or there across the meeting and pick up little bits about, this is how I would communicate that, or do this a little bit differently, and
Right.
And
Communicating,
that's
and that's the thing about the conference. I had John James a number of years ago told me, he says, well, we're just going to have virtual conferences in the future. I said, virtual conferences are not going to allow this, hey, how you doing? I need to talk to you about something. And then you turn aside and then you'd say, we need to have a discussion about this. Sit down, talk, and then you bring the right people together, and that's what's happening. I know just a moment ago they had a meeting on Russian issues and social issues in the Russian and also Eastern Europe, former Eastern Bloc countries. And I wasn't in the meeting, but we recorded it, so we'll find out about what that was. But I'm sure it was productive because it had all the right players in it. But this is what has to happen. Communication is a good thing. That's progress. Not communicating is not progress. So we appreciate what you do.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Thank you.